Alright, hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to make a Pavlov custom weapon. So, in the description there will be a download link to the custom weapon base that I created. Now, what you want to do when you load up the custom weapon base is you are going to want to import your mesh. So I have a Halo assault rifle, which will not be included in the file. If you want it to, the parts like the trigger and the chamber to move, you will have to rig it. You'll have to add bones and then weight paint it so they move with the bones. So then what you'll want to do is, and also it has to have a skeleton to basically for the muzzle flash, for the hand grabbing, and for the mag placement, you're going to need a skeleton. So rigging it is almost 100% required. Now, once you have your mesh imported and everything, you're going to want to open up your mesh, and the layout of the bones can be however you want, as long as it moves correctly and everything. First, we're going to need to add sockets. These will, the charging handle socket is pretty much what the hand attaches to. So you're going to want to go to your charging handle bone. This is the bone I have set. And you're going to want to right click it and do add socket. And you're going to want to name the socket as charging handle. It has to be exactly the same that it's spelled here. I already have this. Now, I don't think the chamber socket's used anymore or is used at all, so you don't have to add this. But however, the muzzle socket is the next socket, which is pretty much the muzzle flash. I put it on a bone I just assigned. It doesn't have to be in a specific bone, it can be in the base of the skeleton, but I just put it here with the old bone. I had to manually rig this. Alright, but yeah, you'll want to add another socket and name it muzzle. And suppressor is pretty much the socket that the suppressor is going to be at. The size does affect this. The size, rotation, location does affect the size of the suppressor. You're going to want to position them correctly and so on. The red line is where it's facing. You're thinking of this as the direction it's facing. And same with the muzzle flash. I think 0.15 is around a normal size for the muzzle flash. Adjusting the scale will make it bigger. I think 1 is like, I think it's like about just like 2 times the size of the gun if you set to 1, or even bigger. It's ridiculously big. But yeah, just keep it at like 0.15 or so. Yeah, rotation, location do matter. Again, and finally will be the magazine, which is where the mag will go and where it'll insert to. Pretty much you'll want to do the same thing with the other sockets. The suppressor and muzzle are both sockets. You just add them and make sure they have the same name. And for the magazine, I just put it in the base, the mesh, pretty much the origin. The origin of it, the base, whatever. I added the socket, named it magazine. And if you want to see how it looks when it has the magazine inside, you right click the socket and then do add preview asset and then add your mag mesh. So I did Halo assault rifle mag, and here it is. It will display it. Let me attach. Let me redo that. See, there's none, and then you do add Halo assault or whatever your name of your mesh is, and there you go. You can see how it looks when the mag's inside. Alright, now that's pretty much it here. That's pretty much it. You just make sure everything's correct. And you're going to, you don't have to do this step, but it's very very recommended, is the physics asset to make everything's okay in here. So this is, the physics asset is pretty much how the physics will be handled on the gun, and how collisions and grabbing and so work. Now I just went here and added a flat square. You can go in and auto generate it, or you can just do what I did. I just did it simplicity of tutorial. You can go down here, body creation. You can set what the primitive types are, and you can set minimum bone size. This is actually creating a collision based on all the bones, so this might not work out correctly. It just created one. Yeah, I know there's another way. There's a more simpler option, but you can probably search up better tutorials on how to get more more closer physics assets. But this is what I did for sake of tutorial. So after you do that, you can move on to the gun itself. So you'll go over to, well, this will be named like custom gun base. You go into the here and gun underscore base underscore rifle. You're going to want to right click this and create a child and name it gun underscore whatever you want the name to be. So I'm going to name it Halo Rifle. You can name it wherever you want. I spelled that incorrectly. Wait, no, that's fine. That's fine. Right. Wait. Yeah. All right. Well. There. All right. So you open it up, and you'll just have this floating hands. What you want to do is you want to go to select this mesh, and you can go over here, and it'll tell you select skeletal mesh. I'll select my Halo assault rifle, and this is only visual. It will not look like this until you select gun underscore Halo rifle. And then go over here. You want to set custom mesh, and you want to select Halo assault rifle, because it needs to, if you go over here, this is all the code for the custom weapon. Pretty much what it will do is on begin play, it will set this variable, set mesh, and this will pretty much move everything into the proper place and set the mesh. And that's why you gotta set this variable. Now, after you set everything, the skeletal mesh, you'll have this. And first, what you need to do is you need to go here. You'll see new grip, new handle, and new magazine. What these are the collisions for. New grip is the collision for gripping the gun with your second hand. New handle is for grabbing the charging handle, and new magazine is for inserting a mag. So what you're going to want to do is you want to use the scale tool to resize it, and then you grab these blue, green, and red arrows or boxes, and it will resize them in both in the axis. So you want to resize it. So this is the magazine port, and I want it to insert into here, so I'm going to move it into place. I'm going to resize it so it's the proper scale. Now this does not apply for grabbing the mag. Grabbing the mag is based on the magazine's collision. So yeah, so that's like that. I'm going to position it kind of like this, and yeah, that should be good enough. You pretty much just tap the mag on that, and it will be loaded into the gun. Now let's move on to new handle. So pretty much you'll just scale. I'll scale this down. The charging handle's right there. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. You know, before you do this step, actually, you need to make sure this is lined up. Now, currently, this is only partially lined up. Now, the only way to fix this is to go back to your mesh, select it, and go scroll down until you see import translation. Pretty much you have to adjust this, so I think 6 is probably good enough. You click re-import and hold on, wait. Pretty much this is offsetting what you imported it by. So the default mesh, actually it should be only offset by 1. Let's see, and mesh should be, alright, there. That is not the right axis. Re-import. Alright, so 0, 0, 0, this is pretty much default, what your mesh, when you import and editors actually are. So we want to make it move a bit forward, so if we change X, then re-import, it will move it forward. And that looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit back, so let's do 0.9, so it's a little bit less forward in the X direction. There we go. Although the reason you shouldn't do that before moving this is because it doesn't move the components with it. So you gotta do this step first, and then, or no, do this step first, changing the import translation. Now, sometimes, some cases, your gun may not be facing the right direction. You want to make sure your gun's facing this red arrow's direction. And this blue arrow will automatically attach to the muzzle socket and will be the direction the muzzle will face. Although this does not the muzzle socket does not determine the direction the bullet travels. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure it only spawns a bullet at the muzzle, and it only shoots this direction. Yeah, in some cases you may need to change the rotation. And yeah. Alright. But yeah, the reason this was filled with a bunch of options is because I had to export the mesh and then re-import it from there. And when you export the mesh out of Unreal Engine, it uses those values. But alright, let's continue to what we were doing. Let's go back to the new handle component and move it into place. So this is the charging handle, so this will be the hitbox of grabbing it. So I'm going to make it about this size. That seems good. Alright, and then finally we're going to do the new grip component. This will be the hitbox for grabbing it. Usually want it to be relatively big. So it's easy to grab it. Alright, kind of like that. Seems good enough. Your hand over there for grip. Alright. Now, changing box extent does not work just because of how it resizes it. So you have to change the scale of it with the scale tool or by changing these options. Alright, but once you got all the components set up, all the new handles, like make sure you're also moving new grip, new handle, new magazine, and not these components, the VR magazine slot 2 hand and reload handle, because those are the actual gun itself, and it does not work when you change those. After that step, you may notice that the hand of the second hand is a bit off. So you can, now by default we're actually using the AK12, so it's going to be using AK12 animations by default. Hold trigger. I'm just going to change the animation. Oh, there's no AK12. Well, yeah, this is how it will look in game. You'll notice, hey, this is a bit off. So, what you have to do is you have to go to the gun_halo rifle, and then if you scroll down, there's grip offset. Grip offset will change the offset of the hand. So I want the hand to be about right there. So I'm going to move it 8 units forward, maybe 5 units down. That look good. 6. Just play around with the values until the right. Z is up and down. X is forward and back, and Y is left and right. See? Right and left. So I'm going to move this slightly back right there, and maybe 8 units down. Nah, alright. 7 units down. There we go. That's starting to look nice. But now what we need to do after this is to make it so it's animated. Currently, the charging handle won't move at all, and the trigger won't move at all. It will still work, but it just won't look nice. So let's go and fix that issue. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your skeletal mesh, right click, and go to create, anim blueprint. And then you'll open it up, and you'll be here. So pretty much you'll want to copy this layout. Pretty much you want to create a variable called slide time. Let's see, float. Pretty much just copy off of the skeletal mesh. I'll put in the folder. It will be called skeletal mesh _ base, or you can copy off the tutorial on this video if you have trouble finding it. Pretty much just make a variable called slide time and trigger ratio. And you'll go to event graph, and you'll want to, in the event graph, get owning actor. You'll drag and drop return value cast to gun _ base. And then from here you'll do drag and drop this and do get slide time. And then from here you'll drag and drop slide time from down here, and then let go and click set slide time. Connect this to here and connect these there. You'll have slide time working. And then what you want to do next is go to the anim graph here. I'll just bring this over here. Oh dear, where'd it go? It's gone. Okay. Well, you go to anim graph, and this is what I use. Pretty much slide time, you clamp it 0.275 times -27.5. Then you do make vector plus if you need this bit. But again, this all should be already there. Alright, so once you have this here, you're going to want to do transform modify bone, and you'll want to make sure to select your charging handle, which in my case is bone 002. And then for translation, you want to add to existing, add to existing, and connect this to here and there. you want component ref, wait, pose, what is it? Local space. Local space ref pose. Actually, no. Component pose. What? Local space ref works, but not the best. Alright. It works the same, but it's good. But if you do this, the options will be all different. You're going to want to adjust, because if I move this variable, it's not going to work at all. Oh yeah, it's timing by 0. Negative 20. Gee, wait, we need that negative back. Oh, great. Unreal intros. Alright, negative 27.5. We'll have here. So this is what it will look like when you pull it back. Yeah, not too good. It's going to go all the way back. So this is why we have to clamp it. So I do 0.275. You may have to do something different. Slide time. Okay, just play around with the values to make sure they're all correct. And here it is all right. The 1 is when it's all the way back, when you pull it all the way back, and 0 is when it's all the way forward. Now this is for offsetting it if you need to, if it's not in the right position. So up, again, Z is up and down, Y is left and right, and X is forward and back. Although in this case, I do not need it, so it's fine. Alright, that handles the trigger, or no, the charging handle. Next will be the easier option, the trigger with the trigger ratio. All it is it just clamps at 0 to 1, and then it lerps between pulled back and not. Now in this case, it is just a simple trigger. It pulls back. You may need to lerp between a rotation instead, but in this case, we don't. Just transform, modify bone, connect component to here and there. You're going to want to do add to existing, and then connect this, and there you go. You can test it out. Trigger ratio, it's, oh yeah, I forgot. You need to select the bone, which is 003 for trigger, and trigger ratio. There we go. Now this is pretty much offset. This is -1 back. If you think it's not pulling back enough, then you can do -2. There you go. Although for me, -1 seems to be good enough, or is good. Pavlov VR, anyways. Alright. And that should be it for the atom graph. You have the working charging handle. You can pull it back there, like that. And you can do trigger ratio. And it moves like that. Alright, so now you can go over. See, this is the one we just made, correct? This is the one we just made. Not even I'm keeping up to track. Okay. Well, alright, once you have your anim blueprint, you want to go back to your gun. In this case, gun underscore halo rifle. Open full blueprint editor if you see that menu. Go to viewport, select your gun, and go anim class. In this case, mine's Halo Assault. And you'll select it here. Usually it's not needed, but you can select it here. But for it to actually work, you need to go to gun underscore halo rifle, and then there's custom anim. You're going to go to Halo Assault, and then select yours, and mine's anim blueprint 1. Yours is probably going to be named differently. But yeah, there you go. Now you have the mesh and the animation set correctly. So now you have the gun fully animated, and you can grip it with 2 hands and pull the chamber back. Next, what you want to do is the magazine. So what you want to do is go back to the main folder, and then there's magazine underscore base modded. Just create a child and then do magazine underscore the magazine name. So hey, I'm gonna name mine Halo Rifle. Halo Rifle. Magazine underscore Halo Rifle. And by default, it's gonna have nothing set. So go in here and go select mag, and then search for your mag. Mine's Halo Assault Rifle, and there is the mesh. But you have to select magazine underscore your magazine name. Go to mag mesh, do magazine. Then there's Halo Assault Rifle mag. And you're also going to want to set the empty mesh. So this would be Halo Assault Rifle, and the normal mesh. The normal mesh is when it has ammo in it, and empty mesh is when it's empty. Although I do not have 2 separate models, but if you do, you can set these both. Now the last thing to do is set how many bullets it will have. So in this case, how many do they have? Well, I'll just do 64 bullets, max bullets. I don't think it matters if you set bullets, but I do that. Alright, so now after you set that, you can close out of here, go back to your gun, and go into search details and search for magazine. And then there's magazine class. You're going to want to change that to your gun. So magazine underscore Halo Rifle, and compile and save. Or well, actually, you don't have to right now. And then the last thing is the bullet. Now, you could not make another bullet, but if you don't, then it will be pretty much the same as an AK-12. So let's go here, go to bullet underscore base modded, create a child, and I'm going to name it bullet underscore Halo Rifle, and there. All we're going to have to do is just modify damage. So by default, I'm going to have it do 15. Now keep in mind, if a variable is set to its default, so 0 will be whatever the AK, whatever that bullet's default value is. It's not actually 0. If you want to make a certain value 0, you're going to have to go into here and change it, and then you can change it here if you want to have it actually 0. But yeah, damage, if you want it to be 100, you're going to have to go here and change that pretty much so this arrow appears when you want to change it. But yeah, damage I'm going to set to 15. Armor damage is going to be 15. It's pretty much how much, I'm not sure if it's percentage based, but I'm pretty sure it's just normal. Then armor penetration. Now, I'm not 100% quite sure. Oh, this is probably your health that gets taken away. Still not quite sure. I'll have 0 armor penetration. You know, armor damage though, it'll hurt it. Helmet damage, 15. Just same all around. Helmet bleed 0. You know, it's Halo. Oh, actually, I forgot. I have to go here. I just said. Let's see. So armor penetration. I'll just set that to -5 here, -5 here, just so I can change it over in here. So armor penetration 0 and 0. So all these are no longer default value. And block damage percentage. I'm not quite sure what that does. But there's also different, like drag, should slow, penetration surfaces, max lifespan, impact force, all of these different sounds that you can mess around with and such. Wound rate scale. I don't know what half these variables do, but they're in the Pavlov bullet. Yeah. Alright. So, also one thing to note, do not add any code into this blueprint or into the bullet. Do not add any variables, do not add any components here or anything. It will crash as soon as the bullet spawns if there's any code, if there's component or variables. I do not know why, but it just will. Like even a variable that does nothing. And I still don't know why, but yeah. Just go back to your gun underscore Halo rifle and go to search for bullet, and there will be bullet class. So search for your bullet. In my case, it's Halo bullet underscore Halo rifle, and there. Now we're almost done. So let's see, we got magazine, we got the bullet. Now all that's left is to change the fire rate. See, if you search for fire rate in the search details tab, you will find fire rate here. I'm going to set this to 05 to make it a bit faster. But this is pretty much the fire rate is the, if I'm not mistaken, in the gun base, it's the time it takes till it reaches the next bullet. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Well, in my case, that's what it was. Yeah, that seems right. Alright, yeah, time it takes between each bullet in this gun base. Alright, eject shell. You can mess with all of these variables. Let's see, fire mode, you can change whether or not it's the fire mode is semi, automatic, manual, or burst. So I'll make it so like the side mode is burst. You can remove any additional fire modes, or you can add more. I'm just going to add burst as one, and then we can go back. So to make sure everything's set, custom mesh is set, custom anim set. Alrighty, and mag attach offset. I don't really mess with that. I don't notice any change. These are pretty much the name of the sockets that you have on your skeleton. Chamber socket, actually, maybe you might, well, I mean, yeah, they changed this to charging handle, and since this is the default variable, it's just using what they have in the game files, which is now charging handle. So that's not actually what it is, but anyways. Yeah, and then the fire sound, or shot cue, shot sound. Alright, let's add that. Let me go to sound, let's add the sounds in now. This tutorial feels like it's all over the place. So, you have all your sounds, I have the fire sound, mag in sound. What you want to do when you have them is go to sound, and go to sound cue, and name it whatever you like. I'm gonna open this up. We're here. Then you can drag and drop your sound. Put it here and into here. And then to make it actually a 3D sound, you're gonna have to override attenuation and attenuation function. I would recommend changing to natural sound because it sounds a lot better. Alright, and then inner radius. Let me actually show you. So this sphere right here is the inner radius, and this sphere is the outer radius. Now you can actually hear what it sounds like in editor if you go to this settings and then real-time audio. Just turn that up and there. And you can listen to the sound. Actually no, don't click play, that doesn't work. You have to tick one of these variables on or off and it will update. So this is what it sounds like in game. So when you're far away. Now that seems a bit too quiet for a gun. Let's go to volume and like 1.25 and inner radius. Now this is measured in hundredths of a meter. 36 meters range. I think 4,500. So this is the inner radius is 4 meters. So in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4 meters. Alright, and yeah. So now this should sound a lot louder. Alright, that's what the shot sounds like. And then we can go here, save, and go to our gun, and then select shot sound and do fire. Alright, shot underscore Q. And then save, compile, save, there. Okay, mag. Let me search for the mag in sound. So we got shot sound, we have all these lovely sounds. Trigger sound, clock sound, reload sound, maybe reload sound. Alright, let's create another sound cue, load underscore Q. Do the same thing, drag and drop mag in this time, plug that in, and override attenuation. So this time it probably doesn't need to be so big. See? Yeah, this is why I choose natural, because this is linear. It sounds unnatural, but then if you go set it to natural, sounds a lot better. I'm going to lower the inner radius of it to maybe like 2 meters. And then the outer radius to 10 meters. Oh, can't hear at all, can I? There. Oh yeah, it's very small. Maybe like maybe 12 meters. You don't really need to hear it that far. It's just playing a mag. Alright, that sounds done. Go to the gun. Then there is search for reload and set this as your reload sound. Load Q, there we go. So we have an animated gun that has its own mag, its own bullet, and it has sounds, and you can hold it properly. What's next? I think that's everything. Except, of course, you can also grab the functions. So if you do event fired. You can call this event and do whatever you want. It's like debug text is a part of Killer Jim's console, which is not here. It should be in here. Console master. Let me drop this in. The console is made by Killer Jim, and this is ripped from my Call of Duty Zombies mod. Just drag and dropped it for easy use. But yeah, back to the gun. Pretty much you can play anything on the fired event. There's also other events. Event magazine. Let's see. On drop here. Well, I think you need to call parent a function, so it can call this code here. There's also player proxy, get player proxy, which is from the gun. There are three variables you can get about the gun: the player proxy, what hand it's in, based on dominant hand, and if the gun is held. Yeah. I'll just create this. Gun was fired. I'll sing it on it. I'm not quite sure if the gun sound will play though. But yeah, you can do stuff like this. While calling certain events may prevent them from playing on the actual gun if they're used. But yeah, and then there's also functions you can play as well, like load chamber. And then there's also event on drop, event on pick, on ejected, on magazine change, on magazine picked, on parent change, loads of different functions on unload. And then there's different events you can call, like I said. You can release magazine, release trigger, spawn eject shell, which is the shell animation. I don't think it works with custom weapons. One big sound. Ungrab charging handle. Use is when you press trigger, and use is when you let go of trigger. It plays no matter what. And there's also recoil drop, release bolt, yeah, all those stuff you can play around with. Alright. Let's see. On drop. Event on drop. On drop should go here and play this. Yeah, I can add call to parent, so play that, and debug text, pretty much just to show that you can play code here. Alright. Looks like that is about everything. We got animated, we can hold it, we can grab charging handle, we can shoot it. There's custom mag, custom bullet. We have sounds. We check if the bullet has all the variables. It does. I think there's a bit of more variables with the gun we could probably mess around with. Like side gun needs 2 hands, not quite sure what that is. And there's stock duration, which messes with I think the fake stock option, and there's all sorts of different stuff here. Speed modifier, oh yeah, there's also different speeds. There's also a variable that controls what speed, like walk speed. There's a, I think, speed modifier, I think it is, will control what speed your player is. Yeah, there's also sight compatibility, grip compatibility, like for these are for different attachments, and then there's also socket. You can add sockets for grips and whatever this is. Oh yeah, and there's different classes for those. Drop by recoil. Supports mag release. I think it's like the button to eject the mag. Single shot drop. It's just very weird. Bob speed. Bolt release cooldown. And then bullet spread and all sorts of stuff. Alright, well, yeah, I think that will be it. I will make another video showing this off in the actual game. Alright, I just made a little simple act. Oh yes, I almost forgot. The way to make it to function as an actual gun. Pretty much what you're going to want to do is go into global info. Go into your global info. I have one right here. Test. And to make it spawn like an actual gun, you're going to want to open up the global test, do begin play, then add item to list. And then you're going to want to right click this and split it, and then item class, just click this, and then do Halo, or whatever gun it is. So mine's gun for Halo rifle, and there. And then you want to go to item name, and this will be the ID for it. So Halo rifle. I don't know if capitals work, but I would recommend against using capitals in your ID for the gun, and there. Now you can spawn it in a normal gun, or as it should work anyways. Halo rifle, and it will spawn in your hand when you press go. This is just a fallback, but it should work. It was working in the previous project. Alright, so spawn item now. Now we actually can end it. Save all. And update. There. Alright, well, I'll see you in game in the next video. Bye-bye.